Hello, guys. I hope that you're having an absolutely smashing day, whatever you're up to. Today we have a great guest on, Rob. So we do, and we're going to be tapping into Rob's story. We're going to be tapping into Rob's training journey, Rob's performance journey, and from this podcast, you will get so many insights that you can't read online. You will get an insight to how to really push yourself, what's actually possible with your body, and you'll get an insight to Rob's mind and how he has achieved high levels of performance, high levels of results, and with his own journey and his own clients and things too. So yeah, listen up, get the notes out, let's fucking go. So Rob, how are you, dude?
What an entrance, dude. What an entrance. No, I'm excited to be here, bud. Love it. I hope I live up to the hype that you've just given me there. So excited to dive in.
So I suppose, mate, like just to give the guy some context and to give
Mm.
him an understanding of your world, yeah, like tell us a little bit about your story, your training journey. What got you into training?
I think so. My journey, I've always said that I started as the insecure skinny kid. At the age of like 16, lifeguarding and stumbled across a gym. And I think like probably many guys hearing this, I didn't reach out for help. I just wanted to crack in, build some massive arms, and
Baywatch?
yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I was just you went into your safe space. So I went over to some cable machines and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. I'll go on YouTube and that was me, mate, for a good 4 or 5 years of making it up, trial and error, and trying to build a body to hide my insecurity. I suppose was the main driver for me there. Very sporty. I'd always played football, not to an incredible standard, to an okay standard. So
If you had to describe yourself as a player, who would it be?
I'll go.
Who would it be?
I would say different to what my friends would say. My friends would say like Gary Neville.
That's my favorite. That is the right back.
I
Gary
was
Neville, Don O'Shea, like
yeah.
even if it was anything attacking, just Dirk Kuyt, just running loads.
Yeah, and to be fair, I enjoyed that era of football where actually tackling was allowed, and actually with this day and age, I probably wouldn't even get in a Sunday league team because of trying to play out from the back and all that. But I was just lucky, I suppose, in a certain sense that I gravitated towards sport from a young age. So that was sort of my, dare I say, a little bit of identity all the way through my life.
Cool. And where are you now? Like, tell the guys a little bit some of the things you've achieved, like
Yeah.
on today.
Yeah, so I suppose I've always been curious is the word that I use all the time, right? So after building the body to a certain degree, which was what I was happy with, it was then, okay, like what's next? What can I do to really push myself? So I've done all sorts of, I suppose the first run that I did was called the Great South Run down in Portsmouth, which was a 10 miler. That then I got the bug for it, went on to run the Brighton Marathon from there. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, what else can we do? So I trained for an Ironman just before. So this was the one in Nice. And then lockdown came in and I was so frustrated. I was like, I'm not giving up any of my hard work. So I decided to create the Ironman in the garden. So with this, I got a client's pool. I pulled a squat rack from inside the studio where I am now, attached a bungee cord around so that I could swim on the spot. Had a turbo trainer in the inside the studio and then ran around the garden for the 26 miles after that. And then the greatest achievement, dude, that was the we call it the Great British Run, which was it 21 ultra marathons in 21 days, which was to raise awareness for Calm, men's mental health charity. And also, yes, from the charity side, but also I love pushing what we think is possible. Like boundaries, let's go against them. So that's roughly an outlook on my physical stuff. And I'm now training for the Austrian Ironman for next year because I still have that need to go and to cross that finish line, to have the medal around the neck and hopefully close that chapter.
Absolutely class. And
Yeah.
for the guys that currently can't see a visual, like what sort of weight, height, strength are you at? Just because you're not a skinny marathon runner, you're a beast. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like what height, what weight, what strength numbers are we pulling?
Yeah, so I'm what I would say 6 foot. I am weighing at the moment, what is it, 84 kg. So whatever that is in stone. Strength numbers at the moment, I'm trying to hold on to for as long as possible. So dumbbell pressing at the moment, I managed to get a PB, so I'll shout myself out for that one. That was 50 kg dumbbell press. So happy with that. And then 110 on the back squat at the moment. Round similar for the deadlifts. And it's a case now of, and coach. So, Dan Reeve, Dan prepped and coached me and my mate Matt for that GB run. And I had an identity issue because I couldn't let go. And he'd see me post it as well, the bench press, right? I couldn't let go of this insecure skinny boy that spent years putting on muscle to then go, no, Rob, you need to turn into this skinny ultra endurance runner because you don't need it, right? You look at all the endurance, the top high end athletes, like take cycling, for example, right? There is not an inch, like everything is perfect. They're streamlined. They've got the muscle that they need to have, and that's it. And I really, really struggled for a long period of time. So Dan sent me my program. I'd always find room to chuck in a little bit of bench press, a little bit of something. So it took me a while. So I've sort of said with the Ironman coming into next year, I still want to hold on to some muscle mass. I accept that I could do it better. But I still like to try and hold it and feel strong and feel lean and go and sort of push what I think is possible. So I'm going to try my best.
But that's the part I want to speak about today. Is like I know that I feel like you're probably being quite hard on yourself because you've more muscle, more strength than 90% of men out there. You know what I mean? And you're doing these crazy feats. Even though it's probably not like your level when you're at your strongest and best, but like most guys are like, he done that, and he also looks like that. How do I do that? What's he eating? Let me know. So like I suppose on that, firstly, let's backtrack a few bits, right? 21 ultra marathons in 21 days. Like how many miles did you cover in that?
I averaged 33 miles a day, which
that is 700 miles.
650, whatever it is, 660. I think Matt's I always say my best mate Matty. He's the data man, the stat man. I was just point me in the direction and I will run. That was how I was.
Like where did you run that?
So our idea behind it was that we'd run from capital, so from Edinburgh over to Belfast, down and obviously across to Cardiff and then beyond into Buckingham Palace. So we used,
Edinburgh. How did you run over the sea?
catching the mighty ferry, dude. That was it.
And then you done Belfast. Okay, so where did you go after Belfast?
So Belfast, sorry, we came down to Dublin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then again the names of the towns and the cities that we went through was incredible, and then across into Cardiff, which Wales was just another sort of kettle of fish altogether. That was a hairy. Don't get me wrong, like Dublin for me personally was one of the worst, darkest moments I've had, which is such a shame. But
go for a run around the block, you go for a run around the UK.
Do you know what, dude? Again, it's bonkers, right? And it's like I appreciate, some people are learning to run 5K and stuff, and that's so cool. And it's the same with us. Like we're just, once you get your body used to and you train for it, like that's the key. That what I say with my guys, like you've got to stick at this plan, and the things that you can accomplish are insane. To be able to run that distance, I get it is not normal, but it's just I don't know, mate. I'm just fascinated by how the body can operate with the stress that you put it under. I remember Dan sort of jumping on Zoom to me and Matt saying, listen, lads, I love your enthusiasm, but the odds are you're going to need a knee or a hip replacement by the time you're in your 40s because of the amount of damage that you're doing, right? You're just condensing the years of running into this short 3-week window. He said, go away and have a think about it and see if you really, really do want to do it. And, me and Matt jumped on the phone straight away like a bunch of excited school kids. I'm like, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? But, hell yeah, let's go. So,
like the costs of these events.
Oh, mate, we were very lucky in a sense of having. So Matt's parents drove around the whole country with us.
What I mean by cost was like the downsides, like the knee or the.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, dude. Yeah, sorry. There was. I've got a little bit of a hip issue at the moment. Hip bursitis or whatever it is. So it's not the end of the world. So actually, trying to squat for the first time, coming back off that, yes, that was the end of the world. But my knee, I had things go wrong. So my quad, I tore my quad, going into Dublin. It just went completely. So I was hobbling along, shuffling along. My knee blew up twice the size of my right one. And it was supposed to be a very, this all happened in the space of a couple of days. I picked up shin splints, so I couldn't actually run 4 weeks prior to the event. I rung Dan to say, listen, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I can't run. And with that, we just chucked me on the bike for, I think it was about 6 weeks. So chucked me on the bike, and lo and behold, shin splints were never the issue.
That's mental. So like, what was the hardest part in the whole? Let's go to that. What was the hardest part in that whole race?
I think it was the waking up. For me, Matt would potentially say different. So for me, it was waking up, really not wanting to do it. I became quite an isolated figure, because I think it's the mindset that I had to adopt with Matt. He was able to carry on. Matt's very bubbly like I am. I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word, that sort of withdrawn actually in the morning. So I'd wake up and just sort of, fuck, I've got to do this again. Whereas Matt could carry on chatting and, just watching a little bit of TV in the morning. I was just sat there, just scoffing this peanut butter bagel. Still gives me anxiety thinking about it now. So that's all we had on the before we'd run. So it was the dark times, dude, were just every single morning. I know it sounds like I didn't have that belief that I could complete it, probably up until the time that we entered England. Simple as that. So that was that's how much doubt I had in my head every single run. Like, I'm not going to be able to carry on. We made a rule that we would never speak about our injuries. We never say, oh, how's that ankle, or how's that knee that blew up? And I think that helped massively.
Tell me about that. Well, like, what's I get it, like it's a negative, but yeah, talk to me about that.
About the injuries?
Yeah, like, no, the fact that you were like, oh, we can't bring up our injuries. Did you just ignore them? And is it like the aspect of you needed some form of hope?
Yeah, exactly. But that was it. To be fair, it was an unwritten rule. We hadn't spoke about it previously. We hadn't said that we wouldn't talk about them. And me and Matt are very open to each other. But it was just something. It was hilarious to sort of say that actually, once we'd finished it, we both met up the week after, and we both went through the same thought process on that first run. And I remember it from Edinburgh, because it was just a long canal all the way down to Glasgow, and it was horrendous, Ben. All that hype you've had, and you're going, okay, this is reality now. We're now on a canal for the next 5 days, and all that thought process of going, what if I leave Matt? What if I can't do it? What if I need to get on the flight home and leave him behind? Well, he had exactly the same thought process. What if I leave Rob? What if I leave my own parents behind and I can't do it? I get injured. Sorry?
Could you have done it solo, or was the peer accountability the thing that got you through it?
I would say so. It was having Matt on my shoulder every step of the way. And where he was, he's a super organised individual. He was able to organise our fuel stops after a run. There is no, having him by my side for the whole entire thing was probably the thing that got me over the line for sure. Yeah.
That peer accountability, the unspoken aspect of it, like, I can't fucking let him down. Like, that is so powerful. And when you've got something like that, where it's like you're in a team environment, you're with someone else, and you just can't let them down. Like, in these sort of moments, you find, in your scenario, superhuman levels of effort and drive, and you just grit through it, which is class.
Yeah, and people say, like, what did you listen to? What did you talk about? So we didn't really, for a large period of time, we weren't actually talking. We were just plodding along. But, we'd say something every now and again. We would just focus on getting to our first fuel stop. We got lost a couple of times, which was hilarious. We got there's some incredible memories there that outweigh, any of the pain that we went through. So, like you say, to have that person there that you don't want to let down, that was a massive driver for me to keep going, especially in the dark times, like I say, where that quad blew up. So it meant rather than running 6 hours, we were running for like 7 or 8. I was hobbling along, and we just got it done.
When did you start running? Like, you played football. When did this whole phase come? When did it start, this phase that you were right, I'm going to start running and doing endurance?
Yeah, I think around sort of early 20s was when I did the Great South Run, which was a 10-mile race. And it was I don't know if anyone listens to this has ever done it. It was just such an incredible day, inspiring all the types of people. Like anyone that tells me that they're a non-runner, I'm like, go and watch these events, because you've got guys of all different shapes and sizes smashing it. I mean, I got overtaken by a stormtrooper. So it's just an incredibly inspiring thing, dude. And that's where it started. The early 20s, I was like, cool, I enjoy this. There was something that gravitated me towards running.
What is it you enjoy about these big events?
I think I've always enjoyed the freedom, the space that it gives me. That's why I enjoy the training days. I really do. There's don't get me wrong, there are days that they're extremely tough, but the events themselves, I just love. I'm addicted to the feeling. I really am. And I have, the downside, and something that I've got better at is, we talk about obviously going through the motions, right? Sometimes you have to go through the motions and tick boxes. And in parts of my own fitness journey, I have struggled because I think that I should be operating at this type of level. And when I've reached the highs of the GB run, there's nothing after. So, I remember finishing that. Everyone was waiting for us at Buckingham Palace. Family, friends, everyone. And I was an emotional wreck. But got home sort of the day after. Mel, my missus, she's gone to work. Family all crack on, and I'm just sat there in the house, sort of going, right, got to try and gear up now and try and do a body weighted squat for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm going through the motions, dude, is something that I have struggled with, but I appreciate as I've gone through it now, ticking boxes and building momentum is such a powerful thing for me. Because you're not always going to be able to complete challenges in life. Sometimes you have just got to survive and tick boxes. But for me, doing these challenges is to prove, I suppose, a little bit to myself as well, that I'm capable of more. And also sometimes just because I fucking enjoy them.
Cool. I love it. And what did you think about to get you through the pain cave?
I thought about, so my nan passed away, so I was very, very lucky. Sorry, that's not the right thing to say. My nan passed away on the second run. So she was okay. We didn't really think anything else. She was just in hospital. I managed to say goodbye to her before, but I assumed she'd be at the finish line. We then had the terrible first run, and Joe Parrish and Mark as well were there to see us on that second run and came in with what they would describe as the big dick energy. And my nan had passed on that first day. So I got home, finished the first run. It was terrible. And excuse me, she was the amazing driving force, the family waiting for me to cross that finish line. So whenever I felt down, dark, lonely at times, I sort of was just able to go into my head and just remember some amazing memories. And I just thought, my mum said on the phone to me, she goes, just finished for Nan. And that's sort of the emotion that I had there every day, that I didn't want to get up. But trust me, I wanted to get in that taxi and go home. I thought, how cool would it be if she was looking down for me to see that I had completed it.
That's mad, mate. It's crazy how, like, when you find meaning, how much you can sort of dig in, like how much what you can do when you've got a meaning towards an activity, towards something. Like, I'm sure you never ever thought that you would ever do something like that.
I do. No, I'm not. I know everyone says like say you're not like talented or whatever. Like I never was. I'm dyslexic. I struggled in school. Like we said, average at football. Like just average at sports. I just enjoy them all. Like give me a racket, I'll be okay at tennis or something. But I suppose deep down, I've wanted to push myself more because I felt average all my life. And where I'd was again just very lucky. I do count myself lucky in that sense that I have gravitated towards sports and things. So I do take to it naturally. I'm fully aware that I find it nice to get up and to move and to do exercise because I appreciate the benefits it gives me.
One thing that Joe said to me before I done my ultras is like, off the back of this, you'll be a different man. So I'd love to know, how are you different after that challenge?
Great question. How am I different? I believe my belief has obviously evolved in a certain sense, that I know full well that if I go through dark times, that I can pull myself out of them.
Mhm.
I would say that is the first, whether that's business, whether that's personal life or whatever. I know that I've always been guilty of, especially in the past when I was sort of a teenager, full of hot air, full of saying that I would stick to something and never achieve it. Like full of big, I talk a lot. I've got a lot of energy, and I'd be full of a lot of shit as well when I was younger. And I hated it. I hated who I became. So the fact that I know now that I've built this inner trust, I suppose, with myself is one of the coolest things. I'm sort of proud, if that makes sense. I'm proud of the man that I've grown into, that I know for well that if I say something like a challenge or whatever, that I am going to do it because I have that inner belief with me now.
And how is it shown up outside of fitness? How is it
What's a question? How is it showing up outside of fitness? I wouldn't really know how to answer it, dude, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just I suppose it just filters, again, just talking about the belief thing, it just filters into me and my other half Mel were trying for a baby this year. And just the belief that I've had, and that's filtering into sort of our relationship. I think sorry?
Just know like good things will come your way.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. And I've been very guilty in the past of just assuming life should be always great. And there should never be any downtime. There should be never any negatives. And it's definitely, with all the endurance stuff, it's definitely taught me that no, life is going to chuck some shit at you. And I'll be completely honest, Ben, like, the sacrifice that I had to have inside Jungle Fit, right, when I went away, I was so naive to the fact that this would be put on the back burner. I assumed that I would be able to do, I know this is going to sound bonkers, that I'd be able to do client check-ins whilst I was running and tick over everything. Like, what was I even, like, I'd be able to do a few Zoom calls, like, at the end of the day. Absolute idiot. Like, what were you thinking?
Even you sitting saying about like talking and thinking like, if that was me, I wouldn't even want to waste energy. I wouldn't even want to I wouldn't want to move my mouth. I would want to be preserving every single ounce of energy possible.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think as well, mate, just moving into sort of like the personal life, I see myself as now of a role model, right? As people to sort of look up to, whether that's in the family, clients as well. Obviously, I like being a leader that is a man of action. That look at Rob. Look what, only because of what he said something that he was going to do and he's done it. And that's what I want people now to sort of think of me, rather than being that guy that was just full of shit, full of hot air, say he'd do something and never did it.
And like for that, because this is like elite level of endurance, like absolutely like unheard of. Is there any records like that you broke in? Like we
tried to get hold of the Guinness Book of Records, but they said because there was too much logistical stuff to go on, no, they wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to put it through. So. It was just we're fully aware, like it was elite level, but at the same time, like I came back home and after a month I went back to do the park run, which is only like a 5K, right? And I'm running in it going, God, this feels horrible. I don't think I can run any further.
Well, this is the point I was getting to. Like, I was running yesterday with my girlfriend, her first ever run. She's doing a 5K on the 26th of November. So, like, for someone that's maybe aiming for their first 5K, half marathon, like, what advice do you give them? Like, you've been through it all. What would you say for them to believe in themselves, for them to think that they can do it, them to think, right, they can find the time to make it happen? Like, we're all busy. Like, what would be your advice?
I think for anyone listening, like it's a case of number one, why do you want to run? You've really got to figure it out, because I've seen people try and force themselves into running, and I'm a believer that like not everyone is meant to run. Like you could if you wanted to deep down, but if that inner like why isn't there, and you haven't taken the time to figure out why it is that you want to complete a 5K, then it's going to make it extremely difficult to get out when the going's tough, right? The hardest thing, we always say, the hardest thing is lacing up your trainers, because once you're out the front door, you've won that battle in a sense. That in a conversation that you're going, I'm too tired, I can't be asked today. It's dark, it's raining, it's horrible. That's the first thing that I would say. And it's consistent. It's the boring stuff, right? And I know, Ben, you probably talk about it all the time. It's showing up and putting it in regardless. Like I've never annoyed with clients that give me feedback and say, listen, Rob, I went out for the 5K, but I only managed to get 3K done, and my voice just got the better of me. And I turned around and came home. Well, at least you gave it a go. At least you've gone out the front door and given it a go. But I would say that's the most important thing. And it's being consistent. It is being consistent. It's weight training as well. It's getting aimed, because that's the biggest difference that I saw. Weight training in relation to running was just, you just run. The way I can describe it is you just run so much stronger, which I know sounds bonkers when you're running, but people obviously tend to, I need to be a runner, so I'm not going to bother doing any weight training. But if you can blend the two, possibilities are endless. But again, it's all the other stuff that goes with it, right? It's sleep, it's recovery.
So on that point about achieving a performance feat that you've never hit before, and then also like lifting and things, what would you say to the individual that wants to look better, that wants to strip off 20-30 pounds, but also as well wants to do these events? Like, how do they do it? Do they do one at a time? Do they, like, what are your tips for it? What have you got clients to do? Like,
Yeah, no straight. I think it's one thing at a time is what I would say, especially when you're first starting out, right? Because I'm very like, I want to do loads of things. And I've been guilty then. You sort of like, you scatter your energy and then you never really excel in one area. So I think you'll know deep down what it is that you want to do first. Like if it's a case of like you want to lose some body fat, then that's the stage you go at. There's always going to be time to then go and do a marathon. There's always going to be time, but you could get yourself in that position. Like if you felt overweight, you felt sluggish now, then to go and do a challenge straight away could be a little bit overwhelming. Why not try and get as fit, as strong, as powerful as you can possibly be, and then look at the challenge later down the line.
And what about if someone's not willing to accept that? They're just like, right, doing both.
Doing both. Yeah, well, then again, that sounds like the petulant teenager Rob, like that went to run that Great South Run because he just assumed that because he played a little bit of football that he could do it all. And it was hard work.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Terrible, absolutely terrible. There's a video that's gone up, and it's I think my dad's filming it, and it's me walking home like with just like peg leg, couldn't bend my knees because I was so impatient. Again, a weakness of mine is I'm impatient. Like I want to go and do it. I want to do it now.
I think there's a really valuable point here because there is definitely a massive trend with people doing marathons, doing half marathons and stuff, and it's so amazing to see. But there is a difference between forcing yourself through one of these events and actually performing through one of these events. And of course, like, especially with like people saying, oh, I can hit a sub 20-minute 5K, 90-minute half marathon, all these things. Like when you see it, like it's important to sort of bear in mind the downsides. Like if you said earlier on that you're running the ultras and stuff, the Great British Run, that week the downside was possibly a knee replacement or a hip replacement.
Yeah.
For at this lower level of a half marathon, a marathon, a really fast 5K, 10K, it could be a week of not walking after a fast 5K. It could be a marathon where you get energy dumped for 2 to 3 days. So it's like, I suppose like the point that I would like to highlight to people is like, of course, like the human body is really adaptable and you've got a bigger engine than what you think. But if it's not conditioned, trained for, you've got a strategic plan 8 to 12, 16 weeks before, it's not performing. It's just struggling for a marathon. I'm actually this Saturday I haven't ran and I've just been doing boxing and my strength training, and I agreed to do a 10 miler with some clients. I know I won't be performing for that. I'll get for it, but I'll not be performing. So I think like just for people generally that they can ask themselves, right, did I struggle, grit through that, or did I perform for it?
Yeah, and also you want to develop like, right, it's all about having a great connection with things. If you like say, if you go all in and you put your body through something that it's not ready for, the odds are you're going to struggle through it and you're going to end up having a terrible time. And you can see that, right? You go to any of these events, you can see the people that have trained for things versus the people that haven't. And it's almost like you're doing yourself a disservice because like for people that say they're a non-runner, I'm like, if you follow a training program that's for running, and you cross that finish line and you still go, you know what, it's not for me, then cool. But it's people that go out and expect that they can run this thing of assuming that they can go out and run a 5K. I'm like, you are on your feet running for probably a minimum of half an hour. And you just want to go straight into a 5K because you assume you have this expectation and assume because the world's told us that we should be able to run a 5K. Or the guys that want to go out and run 5K as fast as they can and their average heart rate's like 200 mile an hour. The calves are like blowing up and they're like just absolutely done and go, oh, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't like that. Well, that's not the way to run.
Yeah, 100%.
So
a quote comes up for me that when you're speaking there, it's don't check what was it? It's don't put through checks that the body can't cash. And that's what you're doing is like when you're going and doing that, yes, you're putting through a check, you're going for it, but the body can't the body physically isn't at that conditioned level just yet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of as well knowing when you're picking your battles. Like obviously you knew, right? I've never done 600 miles for 21 days in a row, but you've done a big level base before performing, and you were accepting that's I'm going to levels that I've never been at before. So it's building up that base before. Yeah,
and I think we were training for a year and a half before we went into this event. Yeah. So we had to take it that seriously. But again, we developed that relationship. Like if either of us had not really enjoyed running and said we were going to do a running event, it would have just been crazy. But the fact that we went at it, we hired Dan, who was just incredible throughout. And we needed someone that had been there and done it previously. And we didn't want to let him down either as well. That became apparent because he put so much effort into getting us there. I mean, the guy even turned up. He turned up for a run on his bike, and his wheel blew a puncture. So he decided rather than wait for a taxi or whatever, he decided to pick up his bike and just run alongside with us.
Well, Dan done that.
Yeah.
What a guy.
What a human. But as Dan would say, I think one of the biggest things that I learned, it was recover as hard as you train. Especially as guys like in our 30s as well, whether we hate to admit it, we slow down a little bit. And I noticed like we were going to every sort of level that we could to recover 100%. And it's, and that doesn't mean you have to be extreme with all the ice baths and things that are out at the moment, which is fine. But your recovery could just be like the power of sleep. It could just be sleeping better. It doesn't have to be all, we're not all athletes at the end of the day. I'm not a professional athlete. So it's just, for me, I love sleep. And the power of that is just ridiculous. So it could be just one little thing that you think that you need to work on.
How did your physique change during that year and a half?
Lost a lot. I can't remember the exact amount. So naturally, with the amount of mileage that we were doing, the weight was dropping. And the physique, I mean, I've got a picture in the studio that I'm at now, and I look like my 16-year-old self again. It was bonkers.
Did it take long to get the muscle back?
It took me, I would say, a good year. I'm going to be honest. This isn't something that I was able to turn around because I had so many ups and downs of trying to get back into the gym, hating it, really struggling to get going again. So it took me a while to build up some momentum. But yeah, I would say a good year's worth of training, and I feel that I'm now, well, potentially, there's no potentially about it. I'm squatting. My numbers are as good as they've ever been. And like I say, now's the challenge and the time for me to go, cool, can I try and hold on to these numbers whilst the Ironman ticks over? So we shall wait and see.
The last question, Rob, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to Rob 10 years ago that wants to look like a savage and wants to be a savage? Like wants to build a strong looking, robust body and also wants to do these crazy challenges and really push his performance?
mate. There's apart from the basics, right? Whether we say train consistently, eating well, the amount of protein, and I'm sure all the guys and girls have heard this previously. But I think the first thing I would say is be kind to yourself, right? We are not professional athletes, so therefore aiming to try, and this is how I used to think, and I would get really down on myself, like 100%. I need to be all in with everything, and that is the workouts, the diet, the sleep, and as soon as I would start to slip up, I'd be very down on myself. And obviously we're all our own harshest critic, right? So what I would say is shoot for 80%, because 100% gives you no leeway whatsoever. And as soon as that mindset changed, I began to enjoy it more, right? Because you have that leeway. Oh, no, I've ticked 3 out of 5 workouts this week because I had other stuff going on. That's cool. That's fine. But we need to look at the bigger picture, which is why I've always been a massive fan of, and I know me and you have spoken about this previously, Ben, of having some fun. Mm-hmm. I'm not just talking about the training side of things. I'm talking about the stuff that exists outside, because we are more than just our body, right? We are way more. Our bodies will naturally decline as we get older, right? And we're going to fight it for as long as we can. But I've been caught up in the past of going, how I look defines me. Don't get me wrong, I like how I look now, but I fully appreciate that's 10% of me. So what is it you do for fun? Because I can guarantee now people that are struggling, and I know that I've gone through phases, I can look back and go, I wasn't having any fun. And that, gravitates to what you do. Like, I love films, I love going for walks, playing sports, like all that different type of stuff, playing the PlayStation. Like, I still need to have that element in there. So I would say I lost track of that when I first started, because I was trying to be this professional athlete when I wasn't a professional.
So you tell them just to really take it a lot easier, not be so hard on himself, and have more fun along the journey.
Yeah, because it's going to last, right? What's the point? Like, I'm all for smashing it and trying to hit PBs with like say, for example, someone's trying to do a marathon now, but you're going to sacrifice a lot, right? For people, a lot of it, people are sacrificing time. And you've got to work out, is it really worth sacrifice? For me, the answer is, for the majority of stuff that I've done, is yes, it's worth it. But I still need to have all those other elements in place. I still need to be able to have some fun and switch down. I call it, not switching off.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question off the back of that. Let's say someone listening to this is an individual that talks himself out of things rather than into things. You sound like the guy is like, I talk myself into too much. How would you, from the past, what you said?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them so that they come off this podcast and they're like, you know what? I'm going to talk myself into what I really can do. Yeah,
I think that there's a few things, right? It's writing things down, but I thought that it was the Mel Robbins book. It's either the 3-second or the 5-second rule. Sorry, but really made a massive difference for me. It doesn't work for everybody, whatever, but for me it did. And it was a case of every time you've got that, the moment you're going, I can't do this or whatever, I'm not going to be able to get out, I'm too tired, is to go 3, 2, 1, go. And I know that sounds bonkers, but it just worked for me. It stopped me overthinking. And it made me go out and get it done. Other things like making it making your environment so easy that it's almost impossible, right? Not like having your running trainers ready to go rather than having them stored away. Everything has got to be easy. Like me in the morning, I'm like a military operation. Like, I've got my clothes there, my work uniform, call it whatever you will. I've got my gym gear. Like, for people that can't see me now in the studio, I'm on the spin bike today because I'm using it for Ironman training. Well, I haven't got my bike, but all my cycling stuff is over in that corner, like with my bottles ready to go. So I'm not having, because I know once I'm finished with Ben, if I was to go back into home and sit down for a sec, half an hour will go by and I haven't done anything. So I suppose what I'm trying to say in the most roundabout way there, mate, is environment is key. Make stuff easy for yourself. Make it easier.
Less resistance. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I think one more bit I wanted to pick up on in terms of performance. I don't think enough guys get this when they go in the gym or whatever. But what is your expectation each day that you're going in? Because it's going to change, right? Sometimes you're going to be more, and I think this is something that I've seen over my time being a PT. Guys will come in and just expect themselves to operate at that level that they've hit. So say call it like a 80 kg bench press that they did last week, right? And they come in, but they haven't slept well. They're more stressed than what they usually are. Yet they've got this expectation that they should try and hit the PB again. That's not always going to be the case. There are so many factors that go into how we perform. So if for anyone listening, if you haven't slept well, if you are more stressed than what you usually are, there is nothing going wrong and going, you know what, my expectation today in the gym is to move and to get a sweat on and to feel good and to walk out and to get a pump. We guys, we love getting a little bit of a pump. There's nothing wrong with that. And know that you've ticked the box. Cool. I'll come back tomorrow. It might be a better day. I might sleep better. But I think that's the expectation thing needs to be managed each week, and have an agenda each time you enter the gym or go out for a run. What is this run? What am I getting out of this run today? Is it to go and hit a PB? Or is it just to go and run just to fit? Because you can. Like this is my belief with running, right? If you run well and run properly, a large portion of your runs should be the slow heart rate, slow, steady plods. They can be nice. So, yeah.
And where can all the guys find you, Rob?
Mainly Instagram tends to be the one that I gravitate towards most. So it's just Rob Dunlop with a little underscore at the end. That's where I tend to hang out and have a little bit of fun, be me, have energy. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Tell the guys a little bit about your coaching too.
So I run, I've got two businesses. So I've got Jungle Fit, which is my in-person practical stuff. And then I've got the Built for Anything program, which is helping guys and girls get lean, strong, and perform at their very best. So it's an incredible job for sure.
Awesome. I really appreciate you coming on. And guys, I hope listening to this, you are literally ready to run through walls, ready to fucking break barbells, lift so heavy. And guys, if you can, give us a massive shout out on your stories. If there's anything you want to follow Rob up with, follow up. But I hope that this has really inspired you. It's definitely inspired me. I didn't realize 660 miles. Literally jog around the park. People, you're jogging around the UK. Absolutely fucking class. Really, really appreciate your time, brother. Thanks.
No worries, dude. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.